Stephen A. Smith is in all kinds of trouble, man. Everybody's coming after Stephen A. Smith nowadays, man. You know, the thing when he went after Jasmine Crockett, he's had Willie D come after him, Steven Jackson come after him, just so many other people. Now he has Godfrey coming after him. Now, mind you, Tamika Mowry, rappers, everybody's getting at Stephen A. Smith. Now, mind you, one of the main reasons why they're getting at him because he made those comments about Jasmine Crockett, while at the same time when Alexis Ohanian, Serena Williams' husband, came at him, he kind of like bowed down and kissed the ring. He didn't really get at him like that, right? So a lot of people are mad, and he's questioning the integrity of Jasmine Crockett and the way that she behaves because some of the things that she said about Donald Trump. Let's look at what some of the things she said about Donald Trump and why Stephen A. Smith responded the way he did. Check this out.
Falling for the okie doke. Stop believing the lies that they are putting out there and the terrible racist tropes that they are constantly using to rile people up. It is time to recognize that while you thought the enemy was the immigrant, or you thought the enemy was the trans person, or you thought the enemy was the black folk, or you thought the enemy were the women, when the reality is that the only person that is harming you right now, if you are struggling to make sure that you can pay your bills, if you're struggling to feed your family, if you are struggling to find a job, if you are struggling to keep your business open, or if you are a farmer, while we currently have record level bankruptcies by farmers, it is not any of those people on the list. It is the old white Nepo baby that is sitting in the White House that is causing all the destruction, pain, and problems that you are enduring.
Now, that's one of the videos that she made in regards to Donald Trump. And she had more that was a little more egregious. Now, people are upset, right? But look at all the things that Donald Trump said about the black community, certain cities in America, certain groups in America, certain countries. Donald Trump has said all kinds of wild stuff and it's just excused, right? He said all kinds of wild things about women. It's just excused. But you mad at Jasmine Crockett because of what she said, right? So now when Stephen A. Smith, he has his show Straight Shooter, he goes on his show, right, to get some butter biscuits and some brownie points, and he says this.
Jasmine Crockett chooses to express herself. I'm like, is that going to help your district in Texas? Aren't you there to find a way to get stuff done as opposed to just being an impediment to what Trump wants? How much work goes into that? I'm just going to go off about Trump, cuss him out every chance I get, say the most derogatory, incendiary things imaginable, and that's my day's work. That ain't work. Work is saying that's the man in power. I know what his agenda is. I'm not exactly in a position to stop him since the Republicans have the Senate and the House. But maybe if I'm willing to work with this man, I might get something out of it for my constituency. Because like Joe Manchin said, he's there to represent, or was there for 15 years to represent, the people of West Virginia. She's supposed to be there to represent the people of Texas. I don't know. Maybe that just sounds ignorant because it's so simple. But it ain't that damn complicated. We make it complicated. Damn, it's frustrating.
So after that clip, Stephen A. Smith got a lot of blowback, a lot of pushback from a lot of people, right? And you know, the internet was ablaze. Everybody was getting at Stephen A. Smith, from politicians to athletes, entertainers. Everybody was getting at him. Comedians, people was lighting him up, right? And he was starting to feel the heat. So he had to really come back to get out in front of this because Willie D was tearing him apart. So did Steven Jackson. They all was calling him out, right, on their platforms. And these are people with big platforms. So he was getting exposed. So he doubled down and came back with this.
To come on the air a little bit earlier this week after what I've had to endure this weekend. What I had to endure this weekend were an abundance of people talking a whole lot of stuff about me because they did not like what I had to say about Representative Jasmine Crockett. She is a Democrat out of Texas, Texas's 30th congressional district. Her work, and her verbiage and all of that stuff speaks for itself. And she has become, a big time public figure in essence, not just as a representative, but speaking out on a plethora of issues involving the current administration and the White House, et cetera, et cetera. And I made some noise last week because I had the temerity, the unmitigated gall to say this about Representative Crockett when talking about the state of our politics in the midst of a government shutdown, by the way, that has unfolded since October 1st. Brilliant Black woman representing over 750,000 people is engaging in verbiage and rhetoric for the streets. And that's fine when you're in the streets. How many of y'all bring the streets to the table when you're at the negotiating table trying to get a deal done? How many of you are able to think that for a second that you're able to bring street verbiage to Capitol Hill and that's going to work for you? You literally have senators and congressional figures on Capitol Hill on the side of the Republicans telling the networks, whether it's Fox News, News Nation, or anybody else, please, please, please put her front and center on camera. Why would they do that? Because they know it wins for them.
So when Stephen A. Smith made that, Godfrey got wind of it, right? And Godfrey came out now, and y'all know Godfrey is known, he's a funny comedian, but he's known for impersonations. And he really did a great impersonation of Stephen A. Smith. Was really in satire, but was telling the truth. Was really calling Stephen A. Smith out for his junk, man. Right? Now this is the thing. I understand what he was trying to say, but the thing is, if you just gonna call out Jasmine Crockett, but not all these other darn senators and congressmen that say a whole bunch of wild stuff, that do a whole bunch of wild, that also do a whole bunch of wild stuff, then you ain't doing nothing but catering to all the stereotypes. That's all you doing. Right? And catering to your W bosses. But let's check out what Godfrey had to say. Check it out.
You got to know how to talk to white folk. Jasmine Crockett, how dare you? You got to be nice to white folk. They don't like all that aggressive Negro antics. See the way I talk to white folk? I talk to them real good. I don't want to get daddy mad now. The President of the United States, he run a good country for us. Look at us. We's free. We eat food. We get to dance. We get TikTok. We can do Instagram. That's a good man.
Stephen A. Smith, Stephen A. Smith. You at it again, man. ESPN, he talks his shit, always has talked his shit. Boisterous, loud. That's what he does. He criticizes whoever's in his goddamn path. That's what he does. There's sometimes I agree with him, but man, you be walking that line, boy, of and righteous. You be right in the middle. You be ruining. That's the new verb. When you're right on that edge. What you said about Jasmine Crockett, I don't agree with. Jasmine Crockett is qualified for what she does. She has earned her degrees. You don't have a degree in that. You're great at the sports. She don't try to correct you on how to talk about sports. And you're telling her how to talk to the president. How is she supposed to talk? She's doing exactly what she's supposed to do. She has more balls than most of these motherfuckers in the Democratic Party have. She speaks up for people's rights. She speaks up when she sees something wrong. She's calling it out the way Jasmine supposed to call that. That's the way she does it. I just don't like the way you're telling her how to talk. Her style is bad because she's right on point. She always has facts. She reads people. So what's the problem, Steve? Look at the way you talk about your sports. You gonna tell me that I'm not talking here. I know him. And he is horrible. It was abysmal. That's you, man. No one's telling you how to do that. That's how you make your money, by using your style. Jasmine has her style, and I think it's wonderful and refreshing to strong Black women. Yo, man, you should be on her side. We should be protecting someone like Jasmine Crockett. I call her Jasmine the Rocket Crockett, man. The Rocket. You understand? You got to be protecting her. You kind of played her with, come on, Steve, come on.
And me, I don't really care for the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. I want foundational Black Americans to get their you-know-what together, man. And we need to force either one of these parties to meet our demands on what we want for ourselves in America. But until we can do that, we have to become a we and tighten things up. Listen, Jasmine Crockett is Jasmine Crockett. She's highly qualified, as Godfrey said. You know, she's an attorney. She has all the credentials. You know, she has all her stuff together. I'm not one of these internet haters where I just hate on women, right? Nah, you know, it's just it's a whole bunch of foolishness that go on in Congress, that go on in the Senate, the House of Representatives. There's all kinds of wild stuff that go on. I'm not just going to pick on a black person just because their style may not be my style, right? At the end of the day, she has the credentials to be, to be in the position that she's in, right? I don't agree with a lot of the Democratic policies, nor do I agree with a lot of the Republican policies. So, you know. But again, Stephen A. Smith is who he is, and he's always been this way. He's not going to change. He's highly paid to do what he do. There's no checks and balances in our community, and we don't have the ability to punish him. So he's not going to stop. He's incentivized by the dominant society to do what he do. So he's been getting called out though by D.L. Hughley. Like I said, the Willie D's, everybody been getting at this guy, man. But y'all gotta let me know what y'all think, man. Leave your comments in the comment section. Subscribe to Street Media TV. What's your opinion on this? Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.